What's up, guys? We're back with the Erect podcast. Special guest tonight, RICO Abreu. RICO, how's it going, man?
Good. Thank you guys for having me on. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, dude, thank you for messaging me back. Like one guy said, he goes, "Dude, how'd you get it?" I said, "I just took the long shot. I figured worst he's gonna do is either not reply or say, no, I'm busy that day." So we figured, what the heck?
We caught him on a
Yeah,
good day.
I'm pretty easy. So I've I really ventured out on doing more podcasts like this and stuff, and possibly hoping one day I could create my own platform too to have people on. And I think it's really cool way to interact with other drivers and just other entrepreneurs and people with all the craziness going on in this country. It's a cool time to just change it up a little bit.
Um, yeah, no, it definitely, and I'm noticing too a lot more platforms reaching out to the dirt world, in general, in the racing community in general.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely seems like it's been growing recently in the last year or two. Like I was into it a long time ago, but then I kind of fell out of it, and I've recently got back into it, and it seems like a lot more people are also getting back into it. And I
Yeah,
think it's with the craziest of NASCAR being the way that it is, it's not what it used to be. Everybody wants something that they can still relate to.
yeah. Well, the accessibility to the drivers, the crew members, the racetracks, how many racetracks are in, a 100-mile radius. We were just talking about how, I could drive to five or six of them right now within a few hours. So,
Yeah.
you can't really do that with a NASCAR track. So, the access that just the grassroots fan has to seeing high-profile drivers or just local races is, I think, is what's growing it. And the pricing is pretty affordable as well to easily buy a pit pass or buy a grandstand ticket and go in and watch these races. And at the end of the day, it's quick. It's a couple hour event, and you get to see more than one style race car usually race. If it's a hobby stock or a late model or a sprint car, to a non-wing car, and you can, and you're hopefully home or on your way home by not too late and able to, to put your kids down and have a drink before bed.
Nailed
uh,
it.
Yeah, so now going off of that, talking about tracks and stuff, what's your schedule looking like for 2023 and your goals coming into this season?
I want to focus on all the big events. So like the Kings Royal, the Knoxville Nationals, the Houston High Banks, the Gold Cup, the Skagit Nationals, obviously Trophy Cup and Chili Bowl to start my year again. But I've been really trying to focus on those, getting as much seat time as possible at those tracks before those events, and just kind of racing a true outlaw schedule where I can hit a high limit race on the way to an outlaw show, or go to pop in at Pennsylvania Speed Week after the High Banks show, where we have the access to drive all the way across the country. I have a great crew that is working on my car that are pretty hungry to go win some big races. So it's exciting for me to kind of build this platform of to go race wherever I want, and my team's supportive behind me on it.
Yeah. Um, so a lot of people out there always wondered, I've wondered, why don't you run the Outlaws full time?
I just, through my career of going to California and racing and coming back to the Midwest in the summer months, and my passion for being home in California during certain times of the year, it just never really fit my schedule logistically to be a full-time outlaw. Yes, the incentive is nice, to get that tow money or that show up money and the free pit passes, and then the championship money at the end of the year. But the true outlaw style where you come in and race and go to an outlaw race or an all-star race, and now it's high limits, or Pennsylvania Speed Week, and not being tied down to any certain series where I have to be committed and to be there, no matter if it's raining, if it's 30 degrees outside, if it's 150 degrees. And if I want to take a weekend off, I want to have that ability to just say, you know what, everybody's pretty wore the hell out. I just want to chill and not race this weekend. We have that access. So It's really intriguing. It's unique. Not a lot of people race like that. There's a few of us out there that just hit and miss, races and focus on big shows. And I just like the accessibility that I have to be able to do that.
Makes sense. I like it.
With
Get
that,
that, like you. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, with that being said, I mean, when you're racing with the Outlaws, though, I mean, there is a couple Cali guys out there. I mean, now you got Selzy out there full time this year. You got Sweet. Larson will run with them every once in a while. Any sort of rivalry with any of those guys, friendly or anything like that? Because didn't you and Kyle kind of grow up together?
Yeah. Um, Not really a big rivalry. Just as race car drivers, you always want to, and you're competing as the highest level. You always want to do good, or beat them, beat everybody really.
Right.
It's important for me to have consistent runs. I feel like throughout my career, there's a lot of inconsistency. And I've seen some of that with crew member changing. Different circumstances of my life that I was in at different times, I feel have taken focus away from just focusing on racing, me building the RICO brand, and I feel like the last few years I've really got a hold of a direction that I want to go with it all, and really focused on giving other people roles to manage things as my race team. I feel like I've given up major roles on the marketing side of things and the videography side of things, and to shop that stuff out for other people to help me. And I feel like it's ultimately helped me grow. Not as fast as I'd like, but I've it's really allowed me to put time into the performance side of things of my racing. And this year or in 2022 has seen a huge improvement for myself on consistency. I didn't go and win 20 races, but I had a whole lot more top fives and top 10 finishes, and really just focused on finishing every race and against outlaw competition. So I spent a lot of time running outlaws shows. Yes, it's very difficult, it's very humbling, racing with the best guys in the country, in the world, when it comes to World of Outlaw racing. And it's just a humbling sport, and it's really hard to be competitive consistently at.
Yeah, you're definitely being at the top of your game every night. I get it. It's going to be hard every night to go out there and compete with the best of the best. I like the Freelander style. Go race when you want. Take a weekend off here and there. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's important, and it's a luxury to be able to do that. I give up, quite a bit of fun through the year, half through the year, on that incentive of the tow money and the free pit passes, and but I focus on building those relationships of building that into sponsorships, and being able to sell that to a potential sponsor where I don't have to rely on a certain series to support me like that for me to be there, and then it gives me maybe a little bit of leverage when a series or a racetrack wants me to attend their race. Then you work into a package deal of promotion side on my end, and I'm able to promote I'm coming to a race because there's an incentive for me to be there.
So on those weekends that you decide not to race, what do you like to go out and do?
I last year I had a couple weekends. I think I came home one weekend and just kind of hung out around my house. This year I started a little bit later in the year. I got my sister's 21st birthdays this weekend, so it's a big weekend for us to just be around family. And as I've gotten older, I've really just appreciated more time around my friends and the really close people to me, my friends and family, and those opportunities. I feel you only have so many of those times where you get to spend with individual people, and it's just become really important to me as I've gotten older. I went floating last year down a river close to our race shop in Indy. I think it was 4th of July weekend. Led right in, so it was a little before the King's Royal Week, so everybody kind of got to relax before the intensity really got cranked up into a big race weekend like that.
Yeah. Where's your race shop at?
It's in Brownsburg, Indiana. It's
Okay.
really like central to a lot of just the general racetracks we go to. We're
Yeah.
9 hours from Pennsylvania, and then you get to Pennsylvania and you can hit 20 different racetracks within an hour. So we spend a lot of time racing in Pennsylvania. Very, very loyal fan base there. And then you're like 7 hours from Knoxville, and I think 10 hours from like the Dakotas or Huset's to Jackson, and which is I'm gonna really focus on spending some time around that area of the country this year with the Knoxville Nationals and the big Huset's High Banks race and Jackson Nationals. They're all really, really close together within a few months. So we're gonna just spend some time racing in those areas.
Gonna skip a couple questions ahead, then going off of that, talking about Knoxville, talking about Tulsa down there at Chili Bowl. You pick certain nights at each place. You're Mr. Wednesday down at the Chili Bowl. Is there a reason for that? Why is Wednesday such a good day for you throughout these last few years?
Wednesday's kind of just always been the day that Keith Coons, when I first started with them back in 2011, that they just kind of put me. There was only four of us at a time. I think it was just Christopher, Kyle, myself, and I know David Gravel ran one year, Bud Kading ran one year. So just these hit or miss. Now their program's grown to 15, 14, 15 cars. So they're doubling up nights. But when the Chili Bowl also has grown to 5 nights of preliminary nights, I think. So, but Wednesday was just kind of the night, and then they just never really stacked any of their guys on top of it. Well, and throughout the years, I've noticed that the podium finishers have been quite a bit different. And I think people like to switch their nights up just to see. They probably get on and as the entry forms come in, see who's on what nights, and then see the stacked nights. Or I feel like it changes every year. I feel like this year Wednesday night was probably one of the toughest nights compared to what I watched over the last few years that I've had. But also, there's been a lot of change with drivers not racing the Chili Bowl that raced on Wednesday night, and it'll be interesting to see if those guys come back.
When you made that last lap pass this year to seal the win Wednesday night, I mean, you were hitting that high side as hard as you could. It looked like really making it work. What about Friday nights out at Knoxville? Because that seems to be.
Yeah, I hate that it's Friday nights because that's always like a slow guy night almost. I just never get through my qualifying nights. I have no clue why. I struggle either qualifying uh, or I struggle advancing through my heat race when we qualify good, and then being in the back of the B main. Like last year, we qualified 18th, and then I started, I think, fifth in my heat, and I ran fifth. And it was just, there's just these little things, and I've been taking notes on them all to that I need to do a better job, on, just finishing the job, really. And it just becomes difficult sometimes. Knoxville this year, I qualified. I was in a perfect position. I would have started third in the feature because a bunch of guys that out qualified me, missed the A main, and I started fifth in my heat race, and all I had to do was finish fourth, and I had a terrible start, and that was it. It was all in the first corner, and then we just ran wide open around there, and I started 15th in the B main and ran like sixth. Like it was over, and
Yeah.
wasn't even close in points to making the A main. So I ran on Friday, and I always end up doing pretty decent, and that's one big thing I'm going to work on this year is getting through my qualifying night on Thursday, and getting locked into the A main, and maybe possibly getting a good starting position. I mean, I've never really started up front at the Knoxville Nationals because I don't get high points. So I mean, it's pretty consistent with me, and I either don't make it out of my heat race or I don't qualify good enough. So those are things that mentally I'm going to work on as myself.
Jumping over to the chat real quick. My mom and dad actually said, "Hey Rico, we want to see you in North Dakota." Looks like, Mom, you better go to South Dakota to watch him because he's going to be at High Banks. Rodney Zimmerman looking like the weather's going to win for the next couple weeks out in California for the high limit. Like you said earlier, your
Yeah.
guys' weather hasn't been the best.
No, I mean the weather is just Mother Nature, so it's not really good anywhere. California needs the rain. We can take all we can get, but maybe just hold up on the weekends. But everything's so saturated in California right now, just with how much rain everybody's getting, and it's hard for these track promoters to keep pushing events when the forecast isn't in their favor, and the facility, they can't even get a tractor out there. So it's
Right.
it looks like the next couple weeks are going to be damp, but maybe we can do some more chats like this and get people to engage on them.
With that being said, too, going back to that chat, Josh Hofer goes, "What is one thing you love or dislike about Husitz?"
Houston's has always been a good track to me. I went last year for the High Banks race, and I never qualified. I didn't qualify good any of the nights, and I was just kind of behind the eight ball. But other than that, like it reminds me a lot of like a Placerville, California bull ring style, like where you're just hammering it really hard every lap. You see guys like Sheldon and Kyle and all those short track racers, and Brad Sweet, and them do really good there. But I was pretty good one of the nights, and I got in a wreck with Brad, and it just killed my points for the rest of the weekend. And I was, and we struggled qualifying a couple of the nights, but we're gonna go there a couple times this year before uh, the high banks race and be able to hopefully get better each night. And it's 4 nights of racing, so I'd hope we'd figure it out by the final night.
Um, Going off of that, also, then, what's your favorite car track combo? I mean, you've driven a lot of things, late models, midgets, karts, sprint cars. What's kind of your
Micros.
yeah? What is your favorite car track combo?
I really like a sprint car on like a half-mile track. I feel like it becomes very technical, very thought processing while you're racing, and I enjoy the challenge. I like racing at Eldora in a Wing 410 sprint car the most, probably, or Thunderbolt Raceway out here in California in a Wing sprint car because it's a unique style of racing that is hard for people to adapt to. And naturally, I've just kind of become really good at some of those tracks. And it's just a pleasure for me. Like, I enjoy being there. I used to not like going to Knoxville, and it was a challenge for me. That I really put a lot of focus into and overcame. I felt and got competitive there. But it's just now I'm just really working on consistently competitive there. And probably the most fun I've ever had in a race car where I was just smiling the whole time was a non-wing sprint car at Calistoga. And it was probably the scariest thing I've ever done, but the coolest thing I've ever done.
Um, I hate to do this in the middle of the stream. Can we have you disconnect and reconnect once again?
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead, guys. Keep the chat coming. We love seeing everybody in here. And then there we go. There we go. Now he's
I don't
back.
know why my internet sucks so bad.
Um,
Well, we're
California
all
life.
gamers, so naturally we just spend a
yeah.
shit ton of money on the internet.
I think I drop like 150 a month for my internet.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know if I don't even know. We have Xfinity, that's all I know.
I know one of the questions we were all kind of wondering, we talked about this the other day. Growing up, biggest role model on and off the track, whether it be driver, family member, whatever. Who did you look up to growing up?
I was really close with Kyle Larson through his, very successful open wheel days, like in the beginning, through like the sprint car portion of his career. So it was really cool to be a part to see his success. Obviously, my family supported him a certain period of it in the 1K sprint car, so it was cool just to be a part of that, a little bit of it, and then really guys I liked watching was like Jack Hoddenchild. I became a really big fan of Parnelli Jones when I spent a little bit of time with him at the Speedway during the month of May one year back in like 2014, and just stayed connected with him and really educated myself about who he was and throughout his career and how successful he was in such a short period of time with like the Baja 1000 and doing all these cool events in the Indy 500 and sprint cars and midgets, and then understanding the career his children became and how he retired before his children even started racing to be a part of their careers, and how good Paige Jones was and PJ Jones, and and it was really cool for me to just kind of see that and be a small part of it for a small period of time with Parnelli, and I still reach out to them and the family and stay in touch with them. So it's he was kind of an icon to me and just a hero of, if I had to pick anybody, it would probably be him, just with how his adaptability was to different race cars, and getting to do all these other cool things is really what I wanted to do, is race sprint cars and midgets and non-wing sprint cars and micros and NASCAR ARCA cars and NASCAR trucks, and I got the pleasure to experience all these different things because of my passion for somebody like him, and my inspiration. Like he was somebody that definitely inspired me to do those things.
So then, following off of that, getting to watch a lot of these guys growing up and all that, when did you finally decide to get in a car, and what kind of brought that on?
I when I got through school, and I really understood about like how competitive I was and my physical ability of not being able to play sports at the level I was competitive at. It became really difficult, so I always knew I had to find something to just to do, really.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I found racing. I showed market hogs through 4-H and FFA, and got really really competitive in that, and realized that there was a time period there where I transitioned to racing, and I couldn't do both, where it was the major events landed on the same weekends, and I wasn't as focused showing maintaining our projects on the livestock side of things, because I was so into racing, and they were taking away from each other. So we made the decision to be fully committed into racing, and I started racing sprint cars full time, and then I got an opportunity to race with Keith Coons, and race for a USAC championship, and race sprint cars full time at the same time, and it just sped my learning curve up so fast, and I was very humbled that I even had the capability of driving a race car at my physical stature. Like, I didn't even know it was possible until there was the Kading family, said they could make it happen, and I didn't even know what comfort was at that time period. So I just sat in a race car and put my seatbelts on. I could barely reach the steering wheel, and I knew, after the first couple races, I had to be a little bit closer because I was running out of reach, and I knew how to stand on the gas, which kind of sped me up, out on the racetrack, and I just had to make sure the car turned, getting in the corner.
Yeah.
What was your first thought? I mean, first time you got in a sprint car. I know I ran up here in Grand Forks for a couple weeks. Obviously, it ain't nothing cheap, and I was trying to do it on a Hornet budget, so it didn't last very long. But I know for me, my nerves sank in so bad. I was thrown up on the way to the track. I was thrown up in staging, everything else. What was it like for you that first time you got in and you were like, this is happening?
I would get really, really anxious. I would get really excited to want to get to the next weekend after I learned something at the racetrack. And I was really, really lucky to be surrounded by some good people that believed in me. I was really lucky that my family had a healthy financial background to help me move up through the ranks, which was a huge push and a boost for my career. And then I got to a point where I felt like it was it was appropriate for me to work towards sponsor relationship stuff, and introducing more of my personality to the public. And with the cool platforms of social media and the things that I can create on there is showing people my personality was a way of selling sponsorship and people wanting to be a part of that. And so I've worked towards being trying to focus on giving all my attention to big organizations that can utilize me in different aspects, just out other than just racing, and tying racing into that is what's most important to me. And then the performance side of things, putting a team together that's successful on the racetrack. I can't do it all. My crew chief can't do it all. The one crew guy can't do it all. So it's important to have really good connected people that believe in me, and I believe 100% in them to have top performance running team. And that's the biggest struggle for me, is to manage all that. And but I've been really lucky to be surrounded by some good people to help me get to the top level. And the top level for me is winning World of Outlaw races consistently, being in contention to win the Kings Royal and the Knoxville Nationals. And I feel like I get closer and closer every year to having more and more success. It's just about punching through that window, and once you get through there, then kind of all the pieces of the puzzle fall in place, and you're able to work through things a whole lot easier, and and be a really, really successful race team on the business side of it, the marketing side of it, and the performance side of it.
Cody, you've been kind of quiet tonight. We'll let you get a couple questions in over here. I think you're more mesmerized that we actually got Rico on right now.
No, I'm just sitting back listening, taking it all in. Just it's not like I get on very often anymore. So whenever I do, it's kind of awesome, and I get to hang out with you guys. But it's even cooler that we got Rico on today. But so you've mentioned that Eldora is one of your favorite tracks. What's one of the best memories that you've had there, on or off the track?
Good memories. Obviously winning a World of Outlaw race there has been a dream of mine since I started racing, and really fell in love with Eldora. And then I won an All-Star race there. I've won a USAC midget race there. I'm gonna run a Silver Crown car there this year, so that's really intriguing to me for my first time in a champ car. To be at Eldora is going to be really fun. I watch the race every year, and I think the Four Crown is a great event. I'm going to run the midget portion, the Silver Crown portion, and the All Star portion all on the same night. So I'm pretty excited to try to experience something like that for the first time. And I've always just from day one just had a little bit of success at Eldora. Every time I went there was like a burst of energy for me to want to get better there. I love the atmosphere that Tony and Earl Baltus have created there, with the major events, the Kings Royal, and just the Four Crown weekend. And I've always supported those events, and it's a track that's really suited me. It's a track that I've built an amazing fan base at. Every year I go there, I feel like I get more and more cheers, and I feel like it comes from my accessibility that I give the fans at the event. I spend a lot of time at my merchandise trailer. I spend a lot of time down in the pits after the races, making sure that every fan that comes by, it gets that positive impression from me, and it goes a long ways at the end of the day for me.
Well, and I think it helps too, like you said with the social media platform. I mean, it seems like you're live at least once a week. You're always posting to your story on Facebook, Instagram. Just seeing you climbing up on your merchandise racks to grab something from the top. You're constantly reaching out to your fan base, which puts you in that position to, no matter where you go, people are going to be, hey, Rico's here. It's going to draw in your fan base a lot more. And I think that is definitely something that you have an advantage over a fan base than most drivers do.
Yeah, and I've really put a lot of pride into growing something like that, and it's made me understand a lot of things just outside of racing, and the relationship side of it, and just the accessibility side of it, and I would love to, um, just maintain that the positive role model that I've become for a lot of people, and the inspiration and inspiring side of me, that people come up to me at the races and say they never knew they could even do something like this, and they tried it for their first time because they seen me racing and they seen how positive I am around people. And I feel like it's really important with the world we live in today that people see those things, and and they get a little bit outside of their comfort zone on trying new things. And it at the end it just makes you feel really good about yourself, I think. And if I could be a little bit of that in someone's life, I feel like it goes a long ways for me. Just sustaining it too.
Yeah.
You're really set up because you just get to be yourself every single day, and that's what you sell.
Yeah, just organically. Yeah, you don't change anything, and it just all comes natural. And the more you get yourself outside of your comfort zone and do things like this year, I really wanted to focus on doing more things like this because I've always just pushed people off or ignored their messages, and because I wasn't as social. And now it's easy for me just to say, yeah, I'll just jump on tomorrow, or what day works for everybody, and I can just get on and we can chat it up. And it's fun for people to have that access, and fans watching these videos, and understanding all of us a little bit more, and growing your platform and growing my platform through your fans, and you're growing your platform through my fans. So it's just really cool that I've built this, and it's just keep pushing it, and I just work hard every day at it, and I just want it to do good.
Yeah. So going off of that, we've got a question in the chat that kind of relates to that. Josh Hofer's asking, what are a few things you wish you could change, maybe about the sprint car racing that would make it better and increase the fan base?
I think the pay-per-view is doing really good. That is increasing it. I think the pay-per-view is taking away from the at-track uh, audience for the local events, because
Yeah.
they can just sit on their couch for $150 a year and watch 1,000 races. So it's unique, but I I don't know what I'd really change. I would, they're starting to pay more. At these events, you see like the high limit series. The Outlaws stepped it up this year because they had a little bit of pressure on them
Yep.
from the high limit series, and it's really interesting just to kind of see the direction. Tony's paying $1 million to win an I don't even an outlaw race. It's a non-sanctioned race, so it's just a race that's going to pay $1 million to win. And like we've never even thought of. I never thought in my entire life I'd be racing for $1 million to win a race.
Yep.
That's like what you get paid to win the Daytona 500. So it's like there's some cool stuff happening. Todd Queering at Houston's putting up, I'd say over $500,000 in a purse at Houston's in a weekend, easily for sprint car drivers to, there should be over 100 cars. I wouldn't see why there wouldn't be, especially with what it costs just to make the A main. I mean, it's cool for me to think that a mom and pop team that doesn't invest a whole lot of money but just have decent stuff can show up and make a couple $1,000s. That's like winning your local race, but just by making the feature. So those are all really cool things happening. Probably the thing that I don't understand about just the sport is how exciting it is, and how it doesn't have live television. How Fox Sports, and it's nothing against like stock car racing, but stock car racing really isn't that exciting to me every race. Yes, they have great races, but they have live stock car races on there, and I just don't understand why they couldn't get live sprint car events. And it doesn't have to be every weekend, but maybe one a month and grow. That would really grow the sport of sprint car racing. I feel like the sport of sprint car racing is kind of under a rock to the world of auto racing. And once it gets some steam behind it, which I feel like it's headed in the right direction, it could grow really big, because it's a quick event. It's exciting no matter what racetrack you go to, and especially when you get all the best drivers there. There's a shit ton of hype around it.
Well, and that
Yeah,
goes.
I miss. Go ahead, Grover.
Well, I was gonna go to the next with Hover's next follow-up question on
Oh,
that. So
I
you
was
go.
just say I miss Mav TV. They used to put a lot of races
Yeah.
on there,
Yep.
and it seems like that's kind of fallen off as well. So,
Or even back
It-
in the old days when we had Speed Network.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Dave. Oh, and I can't even think of his last name, but he used to have the wind tunnel or whatever. His little
Probably
podcast.
right.
Yeah.
Moved to Spain.
Yep.
yeah,
He used to have that, and you could watch it on ESPN and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up Saturday mornings and watching that because it was on. Seeing what was
Yeah.
going on throughout the racing world. But you don't get that no more. Now it's
Yep.
guys
Yeah.
going like us going through Facebook trying to bring more to the racing community and stuff like that. But going off of all of this, Hofer's follow-up question was, do you believe the sprint car racing fans, etc., is better today versus 10, 20 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's changed a lot. Obviously the access to social media and people building their following on there and marketing. I think there's a lot of different ways to market yourself or sponsors through social media platforms, which there never used to be, 20 years ago. So it's increased merchandise sales for drivers. I mean, it's increased a lot of things, and it's really helped build races, build the hype up around races, and so it's the access that fans had to race car drivers. I'd say is probably the same because you could 20 years ago you could have bought a pit pass and walked right up to Steve Kinzer, and to this day right now you could walk right up to Steve Kinzer and Craig's pit. So and have a conversation with them, and
Right.
it's what I think is the coolest part about racing for a fan on the fan aspect of it is that, like I said, the access that the fans have to the drivers and the crew members after the races, during the races, and you can, and you have some big events that build a lot of hype, and they're able to pay a lot of money for these guys to go make.
Going to the comments, and it goes really into our next question. Ryder Jacobson, that would be family with Travis Jacobson, would ask, where was your first major win at?
I won my first race in, I think, 2012 at Silver Dollar Speedway. It was a 360 race. That's probably one of my most memorable wins. Obviously, a World of Outlaw win is one of the most difficult wins. And I have a few of them over the years. And probably my most memorable, like my all time, is probably obviously my Chili Bowl, my 9 World of Outlaw, each 9 of them, my 2 Chili Bowls. This year, winning my 6th in a row Wednesday prelim night is a huge accomplishment for me, and just the consistency that we have with Keith Coons Motorsports on Wednesdays at the Chili Bowl, and then probably 2019 when I swept the Trophy Cup all 3 nights. It was pretty incredibly awesome, and I had no clue I would ever be able to do anything like that, and it just kind of happened naturally, and it was like, holy shit, like I just won all 3 nights at the Trophy Cup, from 10th one night, 5th one night, and like 20th one night, and it was just like I never even knew this was possible. Like I knew Tim Kading won it one year from last, like from 24th position, and won the race, but like I never even knew it was possible to win all 3. Yeah, Kyle Larson could probably do it, but other than that, like I think it's very difficult to do, and that was a pretty cool accomplishment for me.
I'm gonna fangirl here for a minute too. Did you guys just see who
Yeah,
commented in the
I was
chat?
just getting ready to
I
say
did.
All
that.
right, David Gravel Racing Rico is always a great guest. So, David, if you're listening, I did shoot you a message on Facebook. We'd like to have you on too. Also, Josh Hofer shot me a text. He's a good buddy of ours. That's who we'll be hanging out with down at High Banks. He said we need to either shotgun a beer, all of us, or take a couple shots and bring some energy to this thing. So does Rico have any party left in him? Can he still shotgun beers?
I'm not a good shotgunner, but
I'll grab a beer and shotgun one if you guys want to do a shot or something.
I
I'll
don't have any
take
beer
a-
left, but I got some moonshine behind
Shit,
me.
dude, I was gonna say
I'll-
I have to run downstairs and get my fucking jar.
I'll grab a beer quick.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna get quiet here.
We'll give the fans what they like the most, you know, give them that little bit of a party moment.
I'll take a shot. You like?
Okay.
What's even funnier is I've never even opened this jar until now.
Oh, I just sprayed the crap out of myself
got some-
opening this thing.
Casamigos tequila. I'll take a shot with you guys with. I'll probably throw up everywhere, but
Hey, that's okay. I'll probably throw up too.
Rico can't party like he used to be able to, or what?
I'll just swig out of the glass or the bottle. I've gone a few days without drinking.
I don't even know what this. Cause I didn't.
Uh,
Oh, it's apple pie. Okay.
You'll see.
Hey, Cody. Same thing.
Yeah, that's what. No, my girlfriend brought this home from Tennessee with her and,
What do
and
you
gave it to
got
me. I'm
there?
like, I don't know why I don't
You're
drink,
bad
so
now.
you know, whatever.
Yeah. I got Casamigos tequila.
Ooh,
I'll just go
Oh, Casamigos, yeah. Good tequila.
I got a little beer all over me opening this
A
thing.
little
but
bush.
whatever. All right, boys. Well, here's to the fans.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers. Ah,
Oh,
yeah. That'll put some hair on your chest.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's actually
So is
not
the
too bad.
is the fiance a party animal too then, or?
She's like a one night wonder type. You can run hard like once or twice a year.
Okay.
hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
And then it's like a 5-day recovery.
You know, we're talking about that too. I'm pulling up the picture now.
Rodney's hitting the crown.
Freshly engaged, which is awesome to see. We kind of all were wondering if that was ever going to happen or not. Find it again.
Yeah, 10 years, I'd hope.
Oh jeez.
So,
Hoper
how
said he
excited
takes a
was
3-year recovery.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I felt like I caught Megan off guard pretty good. We acted like my brother's truck was broke down on the side of a mountain. So we went up to
Okay.
the top, a point that looks over our whole valley, which is a really beautiful area. And then it was actually an area where when we first started dating, we used to go up there quite often. And Megan and I crashed a 4-wheeler. So everybody got skinned up pretty good. And it was probably 8 years ago. Yeah, so a few years ago, long time ago. And
Guys don't keep track half the time.
she never went back up there, so I actually drove my car up there with a couple of my good friends and Megan. It was we were getting ready to go out to happy hour, and then was it on a Saturday or Sunday, Friday?
Yeah, it was your birthday.
Yeah, and then so we kind of turned my birthday party into an engagement party, and she was pretty caught off guard, so it was really cool.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know you said earlier you guys are shooting for February. Don't want to do it during race season. Can't
Yeah,
can't
no, we
interfere
just
with that.
February's our anniversary month, so I feel like we just tie it all together, and it'll be 11 years next February. So
How'd you guys
we
meet?
are just through mutual friends in the races. I race against Don and being in Knoxville, and yeah, Don Droud Jr., Megan's dad.
Okay, we're seeing everybody wants to see Gus. They want to know
I
where
got
Gus is at.
He'll come up here.
I think that's a big part of the fan base too. I mean, Gus
He
is
is.
kind of iconic
Yeah,
with
he
the
is.
Rico.
You got
There
Gus
he
on the
is.
hoodies.
Thank
Yep.
you.
You got Gus on the merch.
He's looking at his mom. He just got a bath. Yeah, he sees food. This is Gus. He's 20 pounds, 21 pounds.
23 months.
Yeah, 21 pounds. He's 2. He just turned 2. So he's definitely an MVP.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's all over the merch now too. He's getting pretty famous.
Yeah, I think it's just a different direction for us, just so we don't just promote just race car stuff all the time. And we love play dates, and he definitely controls our life.
He's in charge.
Heavily, so.
Does Gus have his own Instagram yet?
No, I don't think we'll ever do that. I just feel like that's a lot of work. So
That is a lot of work.
yeah.
Take a picture of him being, Dad's making me go outside again. It's too cold for this.
Yeah.
Do you guys still have?
That'd be the next job opening. Hire a dog trainer and Instagram marketer.
Talking merch and stuff. Do you guys still have any of you doing the Superman on the motorcycle? Any of those T-shirts left?
Yeah, we do. Our Harley shirt, the RICO Stunts shirt.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun day for me. My friend Junkyard Kenny let me ride his Harley around their local neighborhood, and he had to help me get on and off, and then hold the bike up at the stop signs. And then I've always ridden motorcycles my whole life, so it was fairly easy for me to ride. Obviously, I can't reach the pedals, and so I couldn't put my feet down to stop at a stop sign.
Right.
But he helped me. He's an extremely talented stunt driver, or stunt rider, and so he was able to speed up and get to me whenever I needed to stop. And then we went around the block a couple times and took some videos, and it was just a really, really cool experience for me.
Well, I think you were a little bit of a stunt rider too. I was looking at your Facebook. I see a picture of you jumping over a fire pit on a pink bike.
Yeah, I do adrenaline and do crazy things.
It'll do it to you.
Well,
notice how backwards Colby's comment is. That's lightweight for Rico. I've definitely seen him lift the rear end of a sprint car, but with the help of others.
Well, and that's another thing too. I mean, we could talk about. I mean, you work out quite often, don't you? Because I mean, you're pretty ripped.
I try to stay as active as possible. I feel like it helps me on the performance side of racing, and just getting my heart rate up and getting it down is no different than what happens when you're in the race car sawing at the wheel, and
right.
And getting in very intense, heated moments out on the racetrack when you're physically driving. And it's fun for me to challenge myself, and I just look forward to making myself feel uncomfortable working out really hard, because I feel like mentally when you get out on the racetrack, those are the boundaries that need to be broken for me, and getting myself outside of my comfort zone when it comes to working out really aggressively as what it's going to take for me to win races and win big events, and when the intensity is really high.
Right.
With that being said, gonna go straight back to the merch. I know we're gonna try to keep this around an hour. Any more big giveaways coming out? I know you try to do at least one. It seems like once a month. Was it the cardboard cutout you just had?
Yeah. I thought it would be cool to do these cutouts and sell spots for them. I think it's really fun for my fans to interact with me during it, and it's a spot where everybody can kind of get involved, and they don't have to spend an extreme amount of money, and it's $5 and you have a chance at winning. So I think the more of those I do, the funner it gets. And then I just think I also have to figure out on my end, coming up with different ways to not just sell merchandise. I feel like trying to sell a t-shirt every week becomes very annoying to people, and using different ways to interact with my fan base and growing my following, and and I've been really interested in starting a YouTube channel. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of attention, and I'm really going to need some help to do it, but I just got a lot going on to be able to manage some of that stuff. So it's the more I interact, the more the bigger my following gets, and the more people can enjoy my personality and feel like they're right there with me. And then when they see me at the racetrack, they're not outside of their comfort zone approaching me.
I know we talked about it earlier, but would you ever? I know it's hard for you to give away. Would you raffle off a helmet?
I think I would do another one. It would be really cool to do one. I did one at the Chili Bowl, and then I did one earlier or in the middle of last year, and they seemed really successful. I just have to figure out. I think it would be cool to. I just think what's so intriguing about it to me is that like not everybody could like you eliminate the opportunity for somebody with an extraordinary amount of money just to say, "Oh, I'll give you this much money for it."
Right.
I'd rather have everybody have a chance for a small amount.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for $5, you have a chance to win something.
Yep.
Like, and it's if you don't win, you're out $5. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like
It's not like those helmets are cheap, anyways. You know, you're getting
and
something of good value.
I have a really good relationship with my helmet painter who's supportive of me, and it's when somebody's getting something from me, they're getting something with a lot of passion from it comes from me, and
Yep.
and I it's really important for me to educate the fans that like that this is I take a lot of pride in what I'm giving somebody, and if it's a helmet or a race suit, and I just don't hand these things out. If it's a wingboard off my car, there's not many people out there that have those things, and yes, if it comes signed from me or I did sold those spots for the suit that I wore at the Chili Bowl. I won my qualifying night with.
Yeah.
My helmet I wore all the year before, and like a 12-year-old kid won, and he bought one spot, and I just think that was so cool that like this kid like he won this item from me that's like got a serious amount of memorabilia, and they sent photos when they received it, and it was very heartwarming for me. It was just a cool experience to build up to that, and then I shipped it to them and they received it in perfect condition, and like it just all worked out, and they spent $24 and got a life-size RICO race suit, shoes, and helmet. I mean, it was
awesome,
and gloves, and it was just really cool. I mean, and
that's funny, that you say $24. Why the number 24?
Because that's my favorite number. I don't know.
Okay.
I felt like that was the value of what the spot was. You were getting 4 things. I mean, you were getting a pair of shoes from me, and everybody might think differently about it, and how I structure it, but I see more and more people doing them now. After I've started doing them, I was influenced by a close friend of mine on how to do them, and then I see more people in the racing industry doing them, which is cool that they essentially copied the strategy that I did, but it's cool for me to understand that I influenced these other racers to do something like this, because no one in the sprint car racing world or in the auto racing world was doing things like this, other ways to generate revenue in the racing industry besides merchandise. And now I see other drivers doing them, and it's just cool for me to understand that like I influenced them to do that. I mean, and it's not a greed thing for me or an arrogance thing for me at all, but it's just cool to understand that like no one was doing it, and then I started doing it because I was influenced from somebody, and now I influenced all these other drivers to do it. And it's just a cool opportunity for everybody, that every fan that is intrigued by it and supports these other drivers to it could be a way for fans to sponsor people too without spending a tremendous amount of money. I mean, it's expensive to race. Like, we spend a lot of money to go racing. Like, it's especially with the cost of everything going up, you have to get creative in different things you do.
Well, I don't think people realize how much goes into it.
No, I mean,
No, they don't.
A lot of, and we're at a grassroots portion of the racing. I mean, this isn't NASCAR where you're spending $170,000 for one race. I mean, those are big investments for people, and for me to understand the sport of sprint car racing and what it costs to keep people employed, what it costs to just drop your back door at a racetrack. I mean, there's a massive expense to it all, and And my ultimate goal is to fund my own team, one day with or without partners. If I'm selling merchandise or selling sponsorship or just getting creative with how I create income is ultimately my goal.
I was going to say, so it looks like with the way that you're setting yourself up now, you want to create not just, money and income right now, but money and income for generations to come. Like, you don't just want the sport to end here and stop with you guys. You want another generation to come and another generation to come after that.
Yeah, and definitely. And that's why it's so important. And that's why it's so important for me to, educate the youth of our industry. I mean, and that first positive impression you have with a young adult at a race, because that's the future of our industry. That's our future fans, and those people are gonna work their 9 to 5 and spend their paycheck at the races at their local race to see us race. Us drivers, and and that's it's important to me to be part of that next big push. I think because those are the people that are going to be buying my merchandise or applying their hard-earned money to purchasing a spot to win something of mine or potential sponsorship on my race team, and and support my passion and my love.
So I got 2 more questions and then we'll wrap this up. First one, and I don't know, I know you said you're open to anything. Fights. Have you ever been in a fight at the racetrack? I gotta ask. No?
Really? Yeah. I don't ever really get mad.
You were damn when you got in that guy's cockpit.
No, I mean that wasn't a fight.
She just threw you under the table.
she just ratted you out.
I crashed at that Dodge County, and somebody spun out in front of me, and I was just frustrated, and I just said, "What the hell?" But it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I've never.
I'm gonna go back after this. He's like, "I thought we told you not to talk about this again."
There's nothing really. I feel like I'm. I never really put myself in a position to be aggressive with somebody.
Yep.
And I don't know.
That's awesome though.
I'm not scared to get in a fight. I'm not scared to get beat up, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to get in a fight or cause
right.
Yeah.
What's it gonna accomplish?
Not my personality at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The other one I had was it was going off of that when DJ decided to pull the spark plugs. Did you ever see that video? I'm assuming you did.
I seen some of it. Yeah, that was definitely a unique way to, get the car back in the pit area so you could probably go wrestle around with them afterwards. But, that's kind of one of like the old tricks that the old timers used to do in racing when they were mad, and it was, I don't feel like I would ever get that frustrated at somebody to pass you or do whatever. I mean, it's
yeah.
It's one of the old tricks.
Okay. Well, what do you got to say to all the fans out there, Rico? I mean, let's wrap this thing up. And anything you got to say to them?
I just honestly thank you to everybody. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to the fans that followed all along. And this, I'm assuming, post will still stay up so people can watch it. And
Yep.
it's important for the fans, my fans, and just sprint car fans and racing fans in general to know how important they are to the sport of racing, and how if they don't show up, we don't. There's no sense in us racing. So that's why I go make it a point to go out of my way to interact with people, to educate myself on what's going on in the industry. It's just, race fans are everything. I'm really appreciative of them. The ones that like me don't like me. I'm still appreciative of them because without them, we don't get to race for $1 million. Without them, we don't get to do all these cool things at the events. And that's it.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We also now have a TikTok and a YouTube. We will be uploading stuff to that as well. So be watching on that. Thank you guys for everybody tuning in. We will see you guys in 2 weeks with Matt Kaiser being on. So you guys have an awesome night. Thanks again, Rico, for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.